our sales, what's our employee turnover, what's our production uptime. The stuff we get from BI right now. This is kind of the table stakes for understanding what's going on. But those of you that produce this type of information or consume this type of information, the next question is always going to be why. Well, why are we losing market share? Why are the margins shipping? Why are our sales lowering? So part of what the CPO needs to do is live in both the what and why zone. And what that means is stepping out of the world of building star schemas and stepping into the world of how does my business person think? And how do I predict what they're going to do so that I can be ahead of the curve with those why questions? The data's there. The technology's there. This is not a technology type of thing we're talking about. It doesn't matter what underlying tech. There's better. Some technologies are better. Some technologies are not as good. But in the end, you can do this with index cards if you need to. It's not about the technology. It's about leveraging the technology that I'll talk about in a little bit. But it's not so much about just building a new data warehouse. It's getting inside the heads of your business and understanding when they make critical business decisions, what is the process that they're going through? Because I can guarantee you it's not them sitting in front of your BI system and never leaving that system. They're going to a spreadsheet. They got their smart MBA out there cranking through some spreadsheets, or they're preparing a PowerPoint presentation, or they got their offline spread marts or access databases. There's something going on out there besides what's in all the systems, or else all of us would be out of a job right now. I mean, our industry is built around figuring out what this information is. Part of what you need to do as a chief performance officer is to step into understanding what this is. And let me step back and talk about chief performance officer, the title. I don't have some great vision, although with Obama's announcement, it kind of boosted my ego a little bit. But I don't have this great vision of everybody having a chief performance officer. In some organizations I work with, it's the Office of Performance Management, or it's the BI PMO. There's different ways that this can be implemented. But in the end, understanding what that is and being able to implement that in your organization, the concepts that we talk about here, there's many different organizational ways to set this up. But in the end, you want to make sure that you're embracing these type of principles, bridging between the what and the why zone. If you do, and if you can't get the what zone up, you can't step to the why anyway. The what is the table stakes, understand the reports, get them out there. So let's talk about the 6 C's of the Chief Performance Officer. When I published the book, there were 4 C's. There's now 6 C's because I needed to add more stuff so that I could keep talking at presentations like this. No, just kidding. But the first 3 C's are very data related. The last 3 C's are very process related. And if you think about what happens in the life of a Chief Performance Officer, the 6 C's are where she lives. This is what the Chief Performance Officer does. So collector, collecting the data that's out there, and you're going to all the places. If you go and you just get the data out of your CRM or just get the data out of your ERP, you've created a better reporting system. You're not moving into what Chief Performance Officer should be about, which is managing the metrics of the organization, making those changes. So you need to dig into your spread marts. You need to dig into all those runaway data marts that you have out there. You need to look at your spreadsheets, your access databases. All these different places that there are out there, you need to dig into them, because I can guarantee you that the people that are making some critical business decisions, whether that's in marketing, whether that's in production, whether it's in sales, whether that's in mergers and acquisitions, they're doing something offline. They're not doing it all in the systems, or again, I think we would all be out of a job by then. Our job is to kind of figure it out and understand where is all the data there, and how do we get to it, how do we map to it, and how do we collect it. So we need to find our way out there, dig into this, and some of this is, for those of you that have enterprise data models already built, great place to start and just figure out and create a simple little matrix of tying back your subject areas to the sources on where these things are. And don't just make your sources your online systems, make them your offline systems that are out there. If you don't have an enterprise data model, understanding just your simple processes that you go through in your organization, order to cash, procure to pay, hire to retire, these type of things, and then understanding where does the data reside for them. I'm a James Martin and Company alumni. Does anybody here know James Martin and Company? 1, 2, 3. We're down to about 6 now, Dave. James Martin and Company. James Martin invented information engineering, system development methodologies, and one of our key tools that we always use were CRUD matrices: create, read, update, delete. So what the CPO needs to do when they're understanding where the data is, get in there and understand, where's this data being created? Where's this data being updated? Does it ever go away or get deleted? And who's just in read-only mode? You gotta understand where it is before you can start to measure it. I mean, you want to equate this back to if I'm gonna go on a diet, I sure as heck better know where the label is for the calorie contents on everything. We're going to start counting calories. And when I buy an apple, it doesn't have one of those on there, so I need to kind of have another research understanding how many calories are in an apple. You need to do that. So consolidator. This is a fun one because what you're doing here is not building the MOAD, the mother of all data warehouses. You do not want to build the mother of all data. That is not the job of the Chief Performance Officer. The job is to understand what you need to leave in place and what you need to lift and shift using your technology. I'll give you a great story. My wife and I, we shop at Costco, BJ's, Sam's Club. Everybody know these places. I'm not endorsing or anything with any of these, but we go there, and one of the key things that's always in our market basket when we go there is the Bounty 10-pack of paper towels. I think almost everybody gets either that or toilet paper or something really big paper products. And we come home with these. And I got a 10-pack, and our home has a little pantry, not a big pantry. So what I do is I go and I put 2 in the pantry and I put the rest down in the basement. If you ask me where are the paper towels in the house, when my wife Bonnie says, where are the paper towels? Where's the paper towels? I say, did you look in the pantry? If they're not there, they're downstairs. What I didn't do was go and say, hey, honey, $10.99, I got this great deal on these Bounty paper towels. Can I build a bigger pantry to keep them in? That's kind of how ridiculous we sound in technology when we go and say, I just want to build a bigger data warehouse because I can get to the data. Some of it can stay in place. The technology's there for staying integrated. It doesn't all need to be lift and shift. But your job as a CPO is to understand how to apply that limited amount of technology budget you have to use these different pieces of technology, so whether that's middleware or ETL or whatever you have for getting through this. And leverage your EPM platform where you can, your performance management, your BI, your generic platform. There's things that are built into a lot of your tools to be able to do both lift and shift and stay and integrate within a single tool. I mean, the marketplace has matured drastically over the last couple of years. When I published this book, the main job of a CPO was figuring out how to patchwork together all the technology. The big vendors have kind of done that for us. They've kind of gone and patched it all together and left open spots where you can add the pieces that are missing from their portfolio as compared to having to pick up all the little pieces there. That's what the CPO needs to think about. Now the condenser. This is where you get less is more. This is where you need to get inside the heads of your business people as a CPO and understand literally what are the 12 metrics that drive your organization. I've been doing this exact stuff for a dozen years. I sit down with companies and I facilitate out of them what are the metrics that drive your business. And I can consistently tell you, I've worked with companies that are Fortune 10 companies all the way down to small, medium business. If you do it right, there are 12 metrics that drive any business. And please don't ask me what are those 12 because they're different for different businesses and different for different businesses within the same industry. But there are about a dozen things out there that drive any business. And they're not all financial. That's the other thing. It shouldn't just be, well, it's our net margins and our EBITDA and whatever. It's some of that is operational information. But it's getting to those 12 metrics and understanding what they are that are going to enable somebody to actually change the performance of the organization. It doesn't mean you forget about the thousands of other metrics and the dozens of other KPIs that there are out there. But what a chief performance officer needs to do, and I think we get qualified by coming to conferences like this to understand what are metrics about, what are KPIs about, what is operational BI about, all these different pieces to help sort through this mess. This is what the CPO does. It doesn't just say I'm going to dump it out in reports. It doesn't just say I'm going to put a dashboard with slice and dice any way you want in here and magically you're going to get to it. And it also means how you're going to present this data. When I first published the book, I was asked to speak at a conference for a software company, and they were very proud that they wanted me to endorse their dashboard. And their dashboard that came up was literally it was a single screen, non-scrollable, with 140 metrics on it. I'm not kidding you. And their thought behind it was,